Hello, everybody, and are you ready to thrive? I hope so. I'm Lisa, and on today's episode of Thrive After Divorce, we are going to talk about stress management, something I'm sure you can relate to. And the expert we have today is Deanna Lyons. Welcome, Deanna. Deanna. I keep saying your name wrong.
Actually, you did good.
Deanna. I said it right, and then it got big in my head. See, I need to start already tapping. Welcome. Would you like to introduce yourself a little bit?
Sure. My name is Deanna Lyons, and I work as a stress management coach and as a somatic mindful eating mentor. So I help people who are really kind of fed up with all the outside voices and listening. There's all these people giving us all this great information, but it sort of drowns out our intuitive voice. And I help people sort of reconnect back to that. And de-stress their lives. And not only that, but when that happens, the creativity and opportunities for living your best life really start to emerge. And it's just a huge honor. I love doing this work with people. And it happens regularly because I use a lot of mind-body connection tools. And so EFT or tapping is one of my favorites, but I also incorporate a variety of others in my practice.
I have never heard, I know somatic healing and the nervous system, and I'm familiar with some of the tools you could do. I've never heard of somatic mindful eating.
Well, that's kind of me putting that all together. So
that's why I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, well, one of my friends and coaches, I said I couldn't say somatic because people wouldn't understand it. She proved me wrong. She actually had me on one of her events and people signed up like crazy. I didn't think people would understand because what I do is I take people through a mindful eating experience, but it's not just being mindful of being grateful for where it came from and the beauty of the colors and all of those sorts of things. What I'm doing is taking it to a little different level and asking the body somatically, when you look at this food to eat, what is happening in the body? Is it prepared to eat or is it prepared to run? Is it shutting down and blocking everything out? And really, we've just started inhaling. And so, so there's all these different things that we're moving so fast, we don't realize what we're doing. And so a somatic mindful eating experience is one in which I guide you to connect both your thoughts and your body and find out. We want them to be connected and hopefully reduce any stress that's going on in your body so that when you do eat that food, it's designed now to digest it. If you are in fight or flight, your body is not going to, it's going to wait to digest that. Even though you've just inhaled it, it's going to wait.
Isn't that fun? I mean, you have so many great things to share, but the one thing with food, I think it's one of the first signs that you're falling into stress. Typically people's diets change.
Right.
But I know for myself, when I'm in busy mode, like it's stressful, but it's just good stress. Like I don't even taste my food. I just eat it really fast. I don't even like taste it. Like really consciously sit there and like chew, taste it, enjoy it. It's just like, I gotta eat. I'm eating and driving or whatever I'm doing. And then the other thing is, I'm thinking, how many times do you get a plate of food set in front of you? Because we're lucky enough, you don't have to be in this country. It happens in the restaurants. It's big. I'm exhausted I'm exhausted looking at the plate before I even start.
Right.
Because the portions are so big. And that has to do something, like we weren't programmed to be overfed. Like, here's your platter of food.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah,
I never thought
there's
of
so
what it
many
was in
different
my nervous system.
Yeah.
I always say a good value. I'm like, I'll take half home.
which we like to do as long as we can do it. And, you know, I'm still very much on my own journey. The reason why I created that is because there really wasn't anybody else out there doing what I'm doing. There's one, Janine Roth is somebody who I have studied in this field, and Janine actually does do it in some of her programs. But I'm taking it to a different level and kind of incorporating my own things. And I still study with her and others. So I'm constantly learning and studying myself. So, and it's a process, you know. When you get to my age in life, you know, I figured out that all the dieting or the healthy, you know, the healthy living or healthy eating concepts were still not really, while well-intentioned, they actually sort of created other issues for me. And so I'm unraveling those years of that experience. And it takes time. And that's where the community comes in. I have a group that we meet once a week, and we've been meeting for a year now, and everybody has stayed with me. There's one person that she had some things to do, but the rest of the group has been intact for a year. And we just
For the eating, the somatic
eating. We sit down and we have lunch together. So we get on
Oh.
Zoom and we have lunch together. And it's a little weird, you know, at first you're like, I'm, you know, not supposed to eat when I'm on Zoom, but we purposefully are doing that and reprogramming ourselves.
Yeah, because it's, you know, even, I mean, this show is not about food, so I don't want to get too, but we're programmed as children, some of us, different habits around food, like finish your plate, don't waste anything, or you eat what your grandma cooked, what your mom cooked, and maybe that's not the right food for you. So it really affects our energy, what we eat.
It does. And it's stressful. So kind of back to, like you say, that, you know, the topic for this evening and divorce, and, you know, and while, like you said, food isn't necessarily the main topic we came to talk about tonight, it does weave in, because when you are stressed, we do have a tendency to, you know, get fast food or to, you know, eat all of those things. So, you know, that's kind of a deeper subject for us to talk about maybe another time, but certainly
It does
and share
play
some
in.
other cool tools.
Yeah. Well, for tonight, talking about the stress management part of divorce is very stressful, as of many things in life, and it could trigger into, because you're getting divorced, work is more stressful for you, but somewhere having stress management tools can only benefit you.
Right. And I'm really passionate about sharing simple things that you can do on your own in 3 minutes or less. Now, obviously, there's times that you want to maybe go deeper and do deeper work with somebody, but you also need to have you know, a little toolbox of things that you are go-tos when you're in the middle of a meeting, when you are with the kids, or maybe you're having to go to the attorney, or whatever the things are that come up in life. And so these are just a few of my favorites. One of my favorites is emotional freedom technique, or tapping, so EFT, or it's commonly known as tapping. And it is a mind-body connector. It's a self-soothing, stress relieving, you know, technique. And it relieves stress. It also relieves pain. So it's good for emotional things that are coming up, but it's also good for physical pain. And it's something you can easily teach your kids. So if you have kids involved too, you know, they're feeling the stress sometimes, they're feeling the pain. You can actually teach them some simple tools.
Mm-hmm.
And I have information on my YouTube. There's other great, you know, people out on, there's a lot of free resources with EFT, and it works. And it works because we're connecting the mind and the body, and we're moving the energy while we're also honoring whatever it is we're feeling. We're not trying to stuff it. We're just being with the feeling. So one of the things that I recommend that people do is, if you find yourself in a stressful situation, if you're familiar with the tapping routine, we tap on a variety of places on the face. We're touching different points that are used in acupuncture, acupressure. But you might not want to go through the full routine. And so as a quick way to alleviate something, you can actually start tapping on the collarbone point. And so the collarbone is just finding that little notch right here in the
Oh,
center. And then you just go about an inch over to either side and then about an inch down. So just a little bit on either
okay.
side. That makes sense?
Yep.
Yeah. And you can tap on one side, you can tap on the other, some people will try to get them both. They all work. But let's just say that, you've come home from a really stressful day. Um, and you just need to chill out for a minute and let those thoughts run through your head, whatever they are. You can talk them out loud, which I encourage, but you can also do it silently and just tap on the collarbone while you're letting that stream of consciousness flow. And I tell
Sleep.
people, no, right? Yeah.
Relax. I'm like, oh,
There it is.
yeah.
Yeah. And you can do this. You can do this pretty much anywhere. Even if maybe you're in a meeting and you don't want to really be tapping, you can even just sort of, nudge them. You can, comfort yourself a little bit this way. This is one of my clients shared this with me too, right?
Oh, it's like little
Just,
angel wings or little
yeah,
butterfly wings.
right.
Now, could you do this? I'm thinking, say you have a 3-year-old, 4-year-old that's in the middle of that little tantrum, that they have, and you want to wrap your arms around them and hold them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean confine them and squeeze them. I mean,
Yeah, right.
in a loving way, you're like, it's okay. And we start to rock. Could you do that could you find that point on them? I mean,
Absolutely.
bottom line, it doesn't matter who's tapping you.
No, it doesn't.
You don't have, it doesn't have to come from yourself. If you had a child that was upset or they stubbed their toe and you're like, come here, let me hold you. You could, while you're soothing them, find that little spot and just kind of, it's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or to put them to sleep,
Mm-hmm.
do the little.
Yeah, you can tap here. There's other points, again, I can show those things at another time, but or you can go to my YouTube channel and I've got more information there. But yeah, you can definitely do that for them. And then you can teach them. It's one of the things I do with my clients, right? Is that they'll be starting to tell me all of what's going on and I'll just start tapping. And once they know that, they'll start tapping with me. And so they'll be so then, your child can tell you what's going on and it becomes a way that you dialogue with them, but they're actually turning down their fight or flight response as they're telling you whatever's going on. You're also turning down yours because you're worried about your child, right?
Right.
So
And where their energy bounces, like if their energy is raising. Yeah. Okay. So I love that one.
yeah, so that one's good. And then I'll show you the side of the hand is also a good one. So you can do that under the table if you're, you are also really stressed or you're conflicted about something. Maybe there's some fear, whatever. You can also do the same thing on the side of the hand or any other point. But those are my two favorite go-tos.
Yeah.
We'll kind of just keep it simple.
And just for people, because it can get really in depth, but the bottom line, if it's here, I know anywhere on your face, pretty much. And can you do it incorrectly?
No.
No. So I mean, if anything, if you're a newbie, just know here, anywhere on your face.
The two that the best one and it's different for everybody, but this is we're working with the stomach meridian when we tap here. So tapping is using meridian endpoints, but the points, like an acupuncturist, there's points all over the body.
Right.
So this was designed by Gary Craig and Roger Callahan, but Gary Craig was the electrical engineer and said there has to be an easier way to do it. And he was the one that developed a more shorter routine where we tap on these different points. So the three that I would say are, generally speaking, for most people, this is a stomach meridian right here when we're tapping here.
So if you're like, my stomach's in knots, I'm upset because stress shows up so much in your stomach.
Right. And just tap right here. This collarbone is the kidney meridian, and the kidney is all, there's all sorts of different things, the kidney does. And so it's kind of releasing some of that. You're also near your heart. And the other thing is, are you going to be right here or right here? Don't worry about it. You can't do it wrong. If you're close, there's still going to be the movement on the energy meridian. So yeah, I really encourage people not to worry about it. Do you do one finger or two or three?
Just,
I kind of do two as a general rule, but you'll see me do all kinds of things.
yeah.
Because like you said, you just can't do it wrong. And, we're not doing, specific acupuncture where you have to be exact.
No.
This is just lightly tapping. And
But a
that
good
tapping,
guideline is that little dip, inch out, inch down.
exactly. Yeah. And then the side of the hand. And so any of this, I don't know if you just noticed, but I just got a little deeper breath. My body just relaxed.
I'm all relaxed right now. So
Yeah.
have you heard of the one making a figure 8 around your eyes until
I
you
haven't heard of
yawn?
that.
That like
No.
you're supposed to just kind of like make a figure 8 and 8, and it will make you yawn. I just heard that one too, but that's not tapping. I mean, it's a movement, but it's a lot going on in our face.
Well, there is, and that doesn't surprise me. The energy moving, like that, in and out between your eyes. There's some other techniques, in fact, even in tapping, where we do eye movement, where we work with the eye and we do some other things. But yeah, there's so many cool tools out there. Find the ones that work for you. And if they don't work now, try them again later, because sometimes, when you're in the middle of something, it doesn't work. But if you'll try it again later, it might.
It will. And now I love, you told me you have a low, slow, and smile.
Yeah.
I love this one.
Yeah, this is a little something that actually one of my teachers taught it a little differently, and then I said I couldn't do it because she said you want to catch your breath first. Well, when I'm stressed, I can't do that. So what low, slow, and smile is you start tapping your feet. Just alternate your feet.
Like if you're sitting in a chair.
Sitting in a chair, and you just start lifting your toes and dropping. You can also do it with your heels. I do it with my toes. And you just start tapping those feet and letting them kind of go. And at some point, it might be right away, or it might take a little while. If you're really stressed, it might take a little while. But oftentimes when we're stressed, we want to run and we can't. This is actually grounding our energy, and it's giving our legs and our feet something to do. But you'll, at some point, you'll kind of notice a little shift. And when you notice that little, like, I call it a downshift, then you just put your hand to your heart. And
Does it matter which hand?
Doesn't matter.
Someone might be asking if doesn't just put a hand over your heart.
And hand over your heart, like question. Doesn't matter. You can do either one.
Okay.
And so this is the slow. So and I keep tapping my feet the whole time. Just keep tapping your feet. That's the low. The slow is to slow your breath. And then here again, you may notice, even if it's light, just a little more of that downshift, and then smile. And you just add a little smile, keep tapping, and then you can just relax, kind of let everything stop, and then notice what you notice, Lisa. What did you find when doing that?
I think it's a great combination, because your feet, like you said, it's that energy getting out, the nervous, and then bringing awareness to your breath. And I really noticed the other day, we had a woman on explaining the Qigong, a little meditation, and I closed my eyes and she said, smile. And I did. I was amazed. I could feel the energy shift. And like you told me before, but you didn't say it this time, it's when you would say, fake the smile, because you're not smiling. I think it's important to explain why we add that smile. to finish it off.
Do that. So what happens is, what I was telling Lisa earlier is that this is the one and only time I say fake it till you make it, with a smile. And the reason is that there's the vagus nerve, is the largest nerve in the human body, and it's bilateral. And there are little tiny innervative nerves that actually come, and they're right here where we smile. And so when we smile, we're activating that vagus nerve, which is going to tell the nervous system, the autonomic nervous system, that you're safe and you're okay and to relax. You might be really mad. You might be really, sad. There might be a lot else going on, but you are also okay in this moment.
Yeah.
And so,
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
well, the other thing I was just going to say is so that the vagus nerve is connected, it's connected here, but then it actually goes around the ears and then back and down the spine. And then it also has these other little innervators that go around the stomach. And so, it's really quite a fascinating nerve, a nerve. There's so much out there now about it, but there's some simple ways to activate it like that, which will take things down a notch. And we're talking about stress relief, so that you can then also have your faculties about you to think about what you're going to do next.
I'm picturing back in the 70s when I had remember when we had 10 speeds and you had to shift the gears?
Right.
I feel like that, because when you were in a high gear, but you would pedal really fast, but the bike didn't go fast. You just pedaled faster. And so it's like, that's what we're doing. And we need to shift our gears back down to where we click into groove and smoothly go along. And I'm thinking about, from my own personal experience, when I've been in an environment where they tell me, okay, you lay down in this comfortable thing and relax, or I'm doing something, a meditation. I can't tell you how many times people have told me, relax your face. My body's relaxed. And as soon as they say it, I feel my eyebrows are scrunched. My face is frowning. Is that, what do you think? We have a lot of senses going on. We have eyes, nose, mouth, but my face stays like.
Yeah, there can really be a lot of reasons why that happens, but it's some sort of a stress response that has become, I don't know what I want to say. I want to use the right words here, but I want to be careful. But it's a stress response that your body's just gotten used to.
Yeah.
And so
now I scrunch my eyebrows, hold my breath all at once, and but you're not aware of it.
No.
We're aware of our muscles in our body, but I'm not even aware that my face isn't relaxed.
Yeah. It's one of the reasons. I've often talked about when clients come that I'm going to take a picture of when they first get there, and then take a picture when they leave, because the face really, it's huge, the difference between when somebody shows up for a session to begin with and by the time they leave, because all that tension and that holding releases. I wouldn't say all of it, but a lot of it does. It's pretty.
And I would throw that challenge out to anyone listening, that when you're in a stressful moment, just take a second consciously and think, how am I holding my face? Or I dread it, but I think back of the faces I maybe made when I was upset to my daughters when I was little. It's not a pretty face because we constrict.
We do. Yeah. Right. And that's kind of that's what stress does. Stress is that constriction. And so, and it's designed to do that. These beautiful, amazing bodies we get to run around in are designed to constrict and narrow the view, literally narrow the eyes. When stress happens, the eyes narrow. So, because they want to narrow in on that focus on whatever the problem is.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's other things that the body does, but that's one of the things that it does. It shunts out the blood. It says, hey, now's not the time to digest. Now we got to get the blood out to the extremities, because we're going to run and hide, or we're going to fight. And if you really can't get away, then that's where freeze and fawn and some of the other, the other pieces that we talk about come in. But the first response is to prepare for fight or flight.
Yeah. And we really, for people, you literally start thinking with a different part of your brain.
We do, yeah. And the tapping and the low, slow, and smile talk to that part of the brain and say, hey, Lisa's okay. Yeah, there might be a problem going on, but she's also okay.
Right. Like I'm not in true danger for what that nerve was made for, where people really, the dinosaur was coming, you had to run.
You had to run. Yeah, you did.
Now, so we have the tapping you showed us, the low, slow, and smile, and you have another method that you're going to share. You have tons of methods, but you have another.
It's another little thing, and I don't have a cool acronym or a cool name for it, but I think it's pretty easy to remember. And what it is, I call it, maybe I call it the lily pad technique.
I like that though. I like visuals. I can see.
Yeah, so this is the little lily pads, because in today's day and age, we are context shifting all day long. We go from one thing, and as soon as that ends, we're immediately on to the next. And then, when I'm done here, I'm going to close that out. I'm going to check my email. After my email is done, then I'm going to go feed the kids. And then, and so there's no pause throughout the day, other than there may be, grab a quick bite to eat that you eat while you're watching, you're, looking at your email, or, those sorts of things. And it can be as simple as close your eyes. So we can all just try this together. Just close your eyes and then put your hand to your heart and take a breath. Just in and out at whatever depth feels right to you. And then open your eyes and go again.
And it gives you that reset.
It's a quick reset. And it's something you can do, and I don't know if that even took 30 seconds, 15 seconds.
But
you develop the habit to do that.
Yeah, and you're right, because when we just go, I know for myself, I start finding like random things in the pantry that are supposed to go in the fridge or something, and you open the door when the day's calm, and you're like, why did I put that in here? I don't even remember doing it. And it's something so out of place. Like you don't do that. But with that pause, you can reset.
Just a quick reset.
And again, these are all great tools to teach young children that are even not going through a divorce, but in this case, going through the divorce process, just to take a breath, or I don't want that, train them, but give them the skill to like, okay, let's stop, take a breath, and now let's get ready for your bath.
Right.
Because as a parent, we're like, go, like, okay, let's do this, no, let's get in the car, let's.
Right, just keep going.
Keep going, so we're training them that way.
The thing about it is that there's the closing the eyes, again, just shuts down one of your senses just momentarily. So it, we're very stimulated visually. And so close the eyes, just even for a moment, put your hand over your heart and take a breath. Oof.
Now, in this little bit of time, you've covered just the basic tapping, which you could do anywhere. That's going to bring you down. The low, slow, and smile, which you can do. The pause for our day to break it up. I know a big thing with stress and anxiety is it can come up when we lay down in bed.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people in stress can't sleep, anxiety pops up, and it seems to grow as the moon comes up, the anxiety seems to grow. So either from your EFT training or the stress management or whatever toolbox, what would you recommend to shift it down at night?
Well, my favorite tool, I wasn't sure we would have time, so that's why I didn't even tell you about it earlier, but
You
One of
saved the
my
favorite? You weren't going to share the favorite?
no, it's just that it takes a minute. It takes a few minutes to show you, but it's not really hard. And this is something that I recommend to clients that are having trouble sleeping. It's called finger wrapping or finger holding.
Okay.
And it's as simple as taking it doesn't matter if you're left-handed or right-handed, whichever, you just take your one hand and wrap the thumb. And when you're wrapping it, you want to wrap it just lightly. You're kind of just holding it like you might be holding your child's hand or something. You're not really squeezing it, but
Not a
you're not.
tourniquet.
Right. Yeah, it should be fairly light.
Okay.
And kind of as you're doing this, and I hope your listeners will do it with us, just experiment as we're talking and we're learning about it. Notice how you feel right now. And we're gonna pay attention to it again here in a moment. We're gonna go through all the fingers. And you can do this for about 30 seconds to 2 minutes per finger.
Okay.
And we'll just go ahead and skip over to the index finger, the same thing, just holding that. And you may notice as we make our way down, one or more of them you'll notice a little beat going on. And if you notice that there's a little heartbeat there, I encourage you to stay on that a little bit longer and double check you're not squeezing too hard. Because if you're squeezing too hard, it will beat.
Yeah.
And after you do this a few times, it's pretty simple. You'll get the hang of it pretty quick. And then just move on down to the middle finger. And you might notice right now for me, I'm starting to rock a little bit. My body is so used to doing this tool that it's like, oh, it's time to relax. It's time to chill out. It knows.
Yeah.
And so, not everyone will do this, but I show it to you because it's happening to me naturally. I'm not doing it on purpose. And nothing's wrong with you. It's actually your nervous system relaxing. So let it do it. Then you just move on to the ring finger. Boy, I'm getting a lot of good rocking right now. It's funny.
I'm looking for the beat. I'm like, I think I feel it. Then I'm like, am I squeezing hard?
Yeah. And when you're not on camera and when you do this later, I encourage people to do it while you're watching TV, before you
Yeah.
go to bed. When you crawl in bed, this is something you can do in the middle of the night too, but I encourage you to do it while you're wakeful so that your nervous system gets used to it. And then, and this is again, we're balancing the whole energy system is really all we're doing right now. And, we're kind of doing an abbreviated version of it.
Yeah. But you could do it. Could you do it in the tub?
Could do it in the tub.
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't I don't want to screw the system up if your body's like going to associate it with water and then not work on its own, make you sleepy. But no, I mean, you could do it reading a book.
Right.
Anything.
One of the best when I learned to do this was in meetings, and I'd be in a stressful meeting and I would just work my way through it with my hands under the conference table. And so it was a way for my body to relax. I might not be able to do the low flow and smile at it in a conference room, so I would wrap my finger wrap. But I'm curious if you take a moment. I'll tell you one more thing about it in a moment. But I'm just curious if you've noticed any difference from when you started to where we are now.
I'm very relaxed, but it's a different relaxed than the tapping relaxed.
Yeah. So tell me, what do you mean by that?
Like the tapping to me was like I just feel relaxed. Where the finger wrapping was more, I could see it making you sleepy, like getting you more, I don't want to say trance-like, but it's the only word I can think of. Where not like the tapping makes you, I'm relaxed, calm down, centered, and refreshed more. Where this, I could see you add this with a hot cup of tea at night.
Yeah.
Or something, and it's a different, yeah, I could see we're doing it would definitely, and it's easy, and it would become very soothing on top of
Exactly. Yeah. And again, something you can teach your kids if they're needing a little stress relief too. But you know, or you can do it for them. You kind of just hold their little hands and kind of give them that little nudge. It's probably one of the reasons why holding hands does feel good to most of us. Um, so, and that's the idea, you know, tapping's a little more engaging. So if you're really stressed before you go to bed, I would tap. I encourage you to tap
Yeah.
first, kind of take that first level off, right? So sometimes we need a variety of tools. So tap a little bit, get that first edge off, and then when you're relaxed enough, you know, then go ahead and do this, and then your body knows that. Now here's the fun part. What happens when you wake up at 2 a.m.? You start wrapping your fingers. And I have many clients. I just had another one that sent me a message yesterday because I had taught this in a class I did the other night. By the time they get to the middle finger, they fall asleep,
Wow.
fall back asleep.
I'm thinking one of my nightly routines, I usually take a shower at night. Um, and then I put lotion on, you know, like a kind of butter lotion or thick because it's winter and dry. But that would be a nice part to add into a nightly ritual that you already are doing for yourself. Like I said, a cup of hot tea, after a hot shower or bath, and you're putting a lotion on and just extra.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And like I say, in those kinds of routines, your body then starts to know, oh, it's time to relax and
Yeah.
it's time to go to sleep. And it's that message to prepare you for rest and for sleep. And you are literally balancing all of the energy meridians. They all run through your hands, and so we're giving them a little balance by doing this. We're kind of jumper cabling them is the way that the literature that I read on it, and providing a little energy to smooth out wherever there might be some disturbance. So you're literally just giving yourself a little energy smoothie and gearing down and ready for sleep.
And nothing with the palm. You just stick it
You
to the, I mean,
can,
I know you could, but it's mainly the
yeah,
fingers.
it's mainly the fingers, and some teachings do say to go ahead and put the thumb in here and then to wrap at the end. So I've seen it both ways, where you just do the fingers. And do you do one hand or the other? You can do both or one. What if you stop in the middle and you get distracted? You haven't heard anything.
That's what I love about this. It's, you can't do it wrong. You might not do it the most effective way humanly possible in the beginning, but you can't do it wrong. You can't hurt yourself. It's free.
Exactly.
I mean, other than, you know, if you wanted to get certified or buy a book, but otherwise it's, you could just do it. It's free. It's a good tool to know because panic and overwhelm can hit you so fast. When I was going through my divorce, or even now, I have a nervous personality. Just seeing an email can make my heart.
Right. Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then you develop a trauma. Then like now my email is a trauma to open. You know, you dread going to the email, but just in that moment, if before opening that email,
Yeah. Just do a little tap. Just go.
so that
It's
you
just
can open it
it's
with
just an
calm
email,
grace.
and the thing about that, and what I love about the tapping part is like, it's an email and it's freaking me out. You
Yeah,
tell the
like it's your
truth,
lawyer, it's your ex-husband. I mean, it's like in a divorce, like that kind of email where you're like,
yeah, what's in there? It's gonna,
yeah,
and you don't, when you tap, you don't have to be all nicey nice. You just, what those thoughts that are going through your mind, tap those through. You know,
mhm,
I don't know what's going to be in that, but I probably do know what's going to be in that. And all the things that are there, allow that out,
yeah,
and then there'll be a shift. And then you're like, well, that might be true and it might not be true.
yeah.
So here's
And
another little thing. I'll alternate sometimes with the collarbone.
yeah,
Like like I was just doing. I'm really stressed out. I'm so stressed out about this email, and I know what he's going to say, and I already have it all figured out, and I haven't even opened the whole thing. And then I'll start to slow down and go, you know what? It's possible. I'm probably right. Now what I'm doing is talking to both sides of my mind, but it is possible that it's not going to be what I think. yeah, BS, it's going to be like it always has been.
Mhm.
It might be right, but then again, it could be different this time. And so kind of toggling back and forth between those, sort of the two sides of your mind and giving them expression. But not only are you giving them expression, you're allowing the energy to flow. When the energy flows, you turn down the fight or flight response, and now you can see things differently, you can feel things differently, you have new solutions.
Well, and like you said too, I'm wondering if it would connect when we're stressed, our eyes constrict to just see one thing. But as we relax, if our eyes open up and that focus gets bigger, we're not so narrowed in on that scary subject.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, this has been so incredible, but you have some fun things that places they can find you, things you do, things coming up, and we will have everything listed in the show notes. But tell us about your groups, your YouTube channel, all that.
Great. Yeah, thank you. So I host it's an open monthly EFT circle, emotional freedom techniques or tapping circle, and we meet on the third Tuesday of every month at 5:30 Pacific time. And we do that online, and it's by donation. So some people aren't able to donate 1 month. That's fine. Come on in anyway. And and I don't require a certain amount, whatever fits your budget. So it's really inexpensive. And it's a group setting on Zoom, and everyone gets, 5 to 10 minutes with me, depending on the size of the group. On occasion, if you come and there's only 1 or 2 people there, you get a private session, and that does happen, not very often anymore, but it does happen every once in a while. But what's beautiful about being in a group like that is private work is really phenomenal, but there is also things that happen in the group setting because you see other people going through the same things that you're doing, or there's a viewpoint that they have that you haven't seen before, and I mean, there's just so many different pieces, and we're helping each other. We all tap together. So you're tapping for the other person and helping them out, and they're helping you out when it's your turn. So it's a really lovely experience. So if people are interested, I encourage them to come to that. I also teach for those people who want to learn how EFT works, and to maybe either offer it, you might want to learn it just for yourself a little more in depth, or maybe you have a practice of sorts, massage therapists, nurses, coaches, marriage and family therapists, psychologists. I mean, it's a really great add-on to lots of things. I've taught actually all of the above, doctors, and had a doctor in my class too. So everybody can learn it, and then depending on how they want to use it, they can use it as an adjunct for their practice or just their personal practice. And those classes I do twice a year. I actually have one coming up.
Can I clarify one thing on the meeting, the third Thursday of the month? When you said we're tapping, you'll be tapping and you'll help each other.
Yes.
Just to clarify, in case anyone's wondering, even if it were in person, you don't mean people are tapping on you, helping tapping for each other. I just want to clarify if somebody thought, I don't want to, you mean the energy.
Correct. I'm so glad you asked that, because I've been doing it so long. I'm a little bit close to it.
But some people hear it and they think they're gonna be tapping for me. I don't like being touched by people, but that's not what you meant.
No. What happens is we all tap on ourselves, but we're tapping at the same time. So let's just say that we were in a session and you and I, there were 3 other people here, but you're talking to me about an issue that you would like some assistance with. I would be tapping, you and I would be tapping directly with each other, and the other people would be tapping along with us to help with your energy. So it's called borrowed benefits, for both parties, for for you, you're receiving, but also for them. It helps them too.
It does. I mean, people see it, global things all the time, when people will be like, so many people, if we all light a candle at the same time, our hands across America, I just wanted to clarify that people, even though it would be virtual, but it's not someone touching you.
No, definitely not. No, no. And they're not, they're not touching into your energy. There's,
It
some
just
awareness.
happens.
It just happens.
It just happens. We don't control it. It's not chanting. It's something has to be, it's just how energy works.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So you have your monthly, you have your twice a year,
Right.
and
then I also have the weekly somatic mindful eating group that is at noon on Wednesdays. And that's by application, because it's really, that's something that it's not open to just anyone. I really need to make sure that somebody's ready for that work. But I encourage anyone that's interested to reach out to me, and I'd be happy to have a complimentary discussion about it to make sure they're a good fit. Yeah.
And these are such great things too in this time. If people maybe can't make it out and have lunch with girlfriends, or what about thing, go to a camping center close by. I've really grown to appreciate Zoom and how many people I've met and how many things I've done virtually.
Right.
And how fun it is.
Yeah.
And it's nice to not have to drive and park, and you can show up with your lunch.
Exactly.
Now, what about, we'll have as I said, your everything listed in the show notes, but you have a website, you have Facebook?
I do. My website is deannalyons.com. So that's spelled DEANNA, and then Lyons
It's a
LY.
tongue twister. I'm kidding.
No, right, it is.
Why? You wanted to say it wrong. But okay, you have your website, you have Facebook.
I do. I have Facebook. So my Facebook page is it's the page is time. It's Time for Us to Fly, which is my old website. So, but if you search for me, Deanna Lyons, Time for Us to Fly, you can find me that way. And then I'm starting Instagram.
Oh, yeah,
I've kind of been going kicking and screaming, adding more social media, but I know that's how to reach people. So my Instagram channel, which I'm just starting up literally right now, is Deanna_Lyons.eft. And then I also have my YouTube channel. So on there, I have a variety of these tools that I share. Got a little video where I talk about low, slow, and smile. I've got tapping videos. I have 3-minute meditations. I have longer meditations. So there's a variety of things that I'm constantly building, building those.
Yeah, we'll list the YouTube channel as well. But can I ask you one question before we go?
Absolutely.
Because I kick and scream on the social media. I really do. But anyway, and I don't do much. But here's my thought. Like, it overwhelms me and it freaks me out. But the people that need this type of information, I'm like, the people that need what I want to show them probably aren't on social media either, because it probably freaks them out. When you have that kind of nervous system where you're very empathic, or I get overwhelmed with social media.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So does that make sense?
It does make sense. It really does. And yet, even so, for the most part, many of us at least have one place that we do connect with, with our family and our friends and others. And so,
and they have a limited feed, and the feed they really like, and how you want it. But yeah, overall, as far as promoting your business in that kind of way, the social media, it puts me to sleep.
It's and it's also how people get to know us. That's why you and I are having this conversation, right?
And that's the amazing part of it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And so if our conversation doesn't interest them, that's okay. They'll just get past us. And then, but if it does, then they have a little feel for, what you're doing. They have a little feel for what I'm doing, and then they can dig a little bit deeper and see if they want to. So it's like most things. There's the good and the bad side of it. I'm starting to use on my phone the wellness, the digital wellness. I got a new phone recently, and it has a digital wellness app on it. And so it turns off, like I can turn off all the other apps at a certain time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Because it's always something dinging all day. Ding, ding. But
Well, and then I don't, all my social media, no notifications. And I've done that since in the very early days. I turned off and all my email and social media. I
all the
don't
apps,
anything. Yeah, all of that doesn't ding. The only thing that dings is my texting and my phone.
yeah, you're right.
But
And
otherwise, no.
you made a great point that it's social. I have to switch my perspective on social media. My mindset that I have met so many amazing people that I would have never met. And it's a beautiful thing. And maybe I just have to tap while I look at it.
Well, it's funny because right after this, I'm gonna do some videos for my YouTube channel, so you might see me do one on, or we could tap on that, you and I together.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
it overwhelms. It's just my nervous. It's not my mind. It's not my judgment on it. It's nothing. It's just my nervous system gets freaked out. I mean, it just gets overwhelmed.
yeah.
And that, and then I shut off. Then you're just, I don't want to do anything with it.
Right. Yeah. And again, that's a natural nervous system response. It gets overloaded, it shuts down.
Yeah,
We are electrical. Our bodies are electric, really.
I know. Well, I'm excited to try the things you've taught us and to experiment, like maybe put essential oil on my chest or neck first at night, or add a little essential oil into your finger wrapping,
Yes, absolutely.
or whatever you enjoy doing, but to add things that relax you. And I'll think about it with the food when I eat.
Yeah, yeah. Just notice if you notice that that there's the disconnect. There's no judgment about it. This is the other thing that's really big. No judgment about it. We're just being scientists. We observe it. That's an opportunity to maybe tap a little bit or do some low, slow, and smile. Take a deep breath. Just take a couple of deep breaths. Close your eyes. Put your hand over your heart. Take a deep breath, and then say a prayer or say a mantra or whatever fits with your belief system. But those pauses.
A pause. Do the lily pods.
Really,
Pads. And I'm thinking that you should bring low, slow, and smile to every kindergarten teacher.
Yeah. It's a great idea, really.
Make a little program. I mean, that's a great thing. First, let's low, slow, smile.
Wow. Yeah. It's a great idea.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Deanna. It was a pleasure. And I can't wait to try these techniques. And you make it fun. You have a beautiful smile.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, thank you.